On today's episode, we'll dig into some overlanding accessories, gain traction on our build, take a short nap, play with some fire, also play around with a ton of power tools in today's episode.
Dale!
Power tools.
Dale, no power tools!
Oh, what?
No power tools!
We're going to start pretty simply here and just unbox some of these overlanding accessories that I got. I have a cargo net here that we can use on the roof rack and on the interior. This is an interesting one. It's a combination shovel pickaxe that could be really helpful in digging out holes from your tires or just used for general camping. Probably use it to put traction boards under the tires at some point, I would imagine. Some blackout curtains for the windows. Some carabiners that we're going to use for the cargo net itself and also good for anything else. This is a really cool collapsible water jug. Small fan for those hotter months. Mosquito netting. Magnetic clips. And a Rotopax fuel pack. Very sturdy. Lastly, we're going to live like a reindeer and gain traction off-road. Not sure how the name plays in there, but these are some traction boards. They were about $60 on Amazon, everyone's favorite jungle website. Now that we have all those mods unboxed, let's go ahead and be an overland poser for now and throw these up on the car and just see how everything looks. I think it turned out pretty cool. So the mosquito netting here will be useful during the hotter summer months when I'm camping in the car and we want to have the windows down for a breeze, for some fresh air. We're just going to trim these down to size and use these magnetic clips. They'll hang onto the body and then clip onto the mosquito netting and hold them in place. And then we'll just trim this down to size here. Also, who let me wear all that olive drab? I look like a damn split pea soup. Someone call the fashion police. We'll just rinse and repeat on the other side and we're good to go. Should be a nice quality of life mod for us during camping. And the car looks pretty cool with all the overlanding poser accessories up top. I kind of dig the way it turned out. So here we're going to cut these blackout curtains to shape and size for the windows. Now, these were extremely hard to cut actually. The material is really thick and scissors didn't work all that well to get a precise cut, and neither did a razor blade. So the fitment is kind of crap on some of these, but it mostly gets the job done. And then using these suction cups with hooks, we'll place these on the windows. That's a little bit of a process to do, but honestly it works pretty well. Now with the exterior covered, let's fold the seats down and see what this thing would be like to live inside. Maybe not live, but you know, dwell in for a little bit. Proper bedding. Real Ritz-Carlton stuff. Bump of the head. Go to bed. This is what restless leg syndrome looks like. So I certainly could have got a smaller cargo net, but I also wanted to use this for the roof rack itself if I needed to. We'll just use the carabiners and then hang this in place on the oh shit handles. Alright, so obviously there's a lot of window coverage that still needs to be done. I didn't order enough of that blackout curtain to do all of them, so I still have these two side ones here, and then obviously the back window here, pretty big one, and then the front right. And then for the front, I'm just using a sunshade that I have, that was built for the Protege as well, custom order one. And as far as hanging out in here goes, it's pretty decent. I can fully extend no problem doing this, and my legs overhang just a little bit, but it's not uncomfortable by any measure. I could face either way. Ideally, I have a small projector that I would like to be able to project onto this surface at some point. I guess black's not going to be great for that, so I might have to do a white one as well or something. I don't know exactly. I'll probably just end up watching stuff on my phone or my computer if I have it, but the thought is kind of cool to run a little projector, hanging from the net up there. We can kind of work something out and have it projecting back here. If I was camping with someone else, shacked up with the boys. The interior of this car, while in really good shape mostly, it's just really grimy. You can tell that it's just been used and sweat in for the past 20 years. Like this spot where someone probably sat their elbow while listening to their favorite audiobook. 1 fish, 2 fish, red fish, blue fish. It looks much better, and it feels a lot softer as well too. The seats are the exact same way. They are really grimy. Might be hard to tell on the other camera, but this thing is just kind of drenched in, probably been drenched in human slime and ejecta. I'm trying to think of the worst word I can use here, but you can see it's actually glossy in some areas because it's been probably sweat through, and dirt and everything is collected and just hardened the cloth. I mean, you can hear it and you can actually see that I'm scratching it up, and that's really gross. Make sure to clean those fingernails out later. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, it's over here as well too. It's just real nasty on these seats, so gonna get these cleaned up, see if the steamer can do the trick, but I'm kind of confident that it will. Now, I don't know what happened to my aftershots of these seats, but they're certainly a lot softer and just generally a ton cleaner than they were. Got rid of that nasty hardness and sheen that they had. So the center trim here, the silver part, is really dingy and couldn't clean up very well actually. Those are scuff marks and it's into the paint. I didn't feel like repainting this, so I came up with a different approach here. Well, that was extremely easy. I'm gonna go clean this up in the sink. Yeah, we're just gonna keep kicking the can down the road. Oh, this little vinyl wrap came with a squeegee and a little knife itself. Safety blade. It's like $8 too. Certainly not perfect. I'm not great at vinyl wrapping. I've only done it very small things a couple of times. With the interior basically complete for how I want it, let's once again jump to the exterior. Can you guess what we're addressing here? You know, there's really not a ton of options for this car. Aftermarket it's good for what's there, but there's not a lot of it there. I was forced to go with an HKS unit, as I didn't want to spend $600, $700 on a racing beat unit. Actually, and it has a silencer too. I didn't realize that. I guess that's why people say that it's not as loud as you would think it would be. Or a fart cannon. If you watched the previous videos on the suspension replacement, you'll know this car was a rusty hell. So I'm going to start early and soak these things with PB Blaster, but just look at the shape of these bolts and the flanges here. How am I supposed to do this? Come on. Well, that's clearly not going to work. Let's go try somewhere else. How about the cat? Let's see what we can do here. Say hello to the first round of Mr. A Torch. He's back. Swimmingly. This is going swimmingly. Awesome. This car, man. This fucking car. She's meant for the dumpster.
In the bin.
easy. These two spring bolts that hold the downpipe to the cap were the only easy ones on the entire car. If you've ever got to pull an exhaust from exhaust hangers, make sure and lube those up first. It'll save yourself a ton of headache. Now that the secondary cat section is out, I'm going to try to remove the broken studs. This is going to prove to be really difficult. As you can see, I'm not really on screen here, but I am trying to hammer those out with a punch and a sledgehammer. I ended up buying a new midsection here, as it was only about $100 and in a lot better shape, and we're going to need good flanges to help this thing seal up. So, because Plan A rarely works with this car, what I'm going to do here is cut off the remaining parts of the stud, and then we're just going to drill straight through this. Watch as I use painfully dull bits and try to drill my way through here. Ladies and gentlemen, he's back. So I ended up bending the flange earlier when I was trying to pound out the remainder of the studs, so here, I'm going to try to remedy that. With the mid and the back section done, let's jump over here to the engine bay. We'll talk about what we're doing here in a little bit. So if you guessed that I'm trying to remove the headers here, you are correct. But once again, remember what car we're working on. This EGR nut does not want to back up from the headers at all. Let's go ahead and leave the header installed, but remove that down pipe. Let's clean this area up a bit. It's pretty disgusting. So while we can't entirely remove the header because of that EGR nut, we can unbolt it from the motor and slide it back just slightly in order to put a new gasket on here. And clean up those surfaces, of course, too. So, if you recall in one of the previous episodes, we broke the studs off of that downpipe. Gotta do something about that, I guess. I'm going to attempt to weld a nut to the broken studs. Let's see how that goes for us. I've never had success with it before. I'm not a very good welder. Of course, that didn't work, so here we are, torching it and trying to use vice grips to turn it. Guess what, ladies and germs? Plan B didn't work, so let's actuate plan C here. As you can plan C, I didn't record everything, but I cut off the rest of the studs on the backside and had to drill new holes and tap those as well too for a newer, bigger bolt. And I say bigger bolt here because I drilled the hole too big, of course, so bigger bolt time. We're going to use some high temp exhaust sealant here because the flange is a little bit messed up on the cat section, so we want to make sure and seal that up real well so we don't have an exhaust leak underneath the car. Not gonna lie, guys, this one was painful, but as with any good project, it becomes worth it once you persevere and finish. It is extremely quiet with that silencer. Let's take that out. You'll hear more of that in a future episode. I want to thank you guys so much for watching these videos and supporting us. It means the world to us. So if you enjoy this kind of content, please consider leaving a like or a subscribe or maybe comment down below how stupid we are. We appreciate it, and we'll see you in the next episode.